Alright guys and gals, here we are with our 31st century Eternal class temporal ship. It is one of the most versatile science ships in the game in my opinion. I mean, it's not number one in my book because the Paradox is my first love, but it's up there in my top three, with the Krenim being the second most favorite of that particular line of ships. But today we're going to show you a little bit about the ship itself. As far as my build, I mean, builds may vary. You know, there's a couple dozen science builds out there running around, people doing this or that and the other thing. You're going to see some similarities between other builds and my build, but basically I have been evolving this build on this Toon since I started playing Star Trek Online when it first launched. This was my first Toon. She was the science Toon that I created day one. She's actually a Vulcan, you know. Back then, everybody wanted to be a Vulcan. But what I'm going to do here is basically highlight over each of these weapons and things of that nature so that you can read them if you like. If I'm going a little too fast, just hit that pause button because that's what pause is there for. So you can pause the video, read the information, and then continue. But basically the build is going to evolve once again once I hit the tier 5 temporal reputation, because I'm probably going to wind up going with a 3-piece temporal set that comes from the reputation for the space set, the shields, the deflector, or the shields, the engine, and the warp core. It's going to wind up boosting a lot of my dots and my hazards on this particular build. It's got some nice stuff. But we're going to test that out once we get a hold of it and see what's what and, you know, what's changing. I'm definitely going to wind up making a few skill changes here and there. Now that I'm not running torps as my main output for, you know, the secondary damage. Exotic is the bread and butter damage of this build, and you'll see why here in a second. Let's see here. Alright, now that we've gone through all of those, these Epoch fighters here, they're pretty nice. They do some decent damage. They got fire at will, 2 anti-proton beam rays, but I'm still on the fence about them. I think I'm going to probably switch back to my Aeon time ships eventually, but we'll do some more testing with that. And now, as far as this weapon is concerned here, this is eventually going to get moved to the back to right here, because I'm going to wind up putting the new temporal beam array up front here, because it's a pretty nice little weapon. Let me see if we can... Do we have access to it yet? I don't think so. I think that's tier 4. Yeah, it's a tier 4. I'm getting there. We're about probably about 8 days out, maybe, or 7 days out, something like that. But once we have access to that, we're gonna switch that to the front here, and then we're gonna probably make another change or two to get the 3-piece temporal warfare set onto this build. But that's neither here nor there. We're not even close yet. So let's take a look at our skill tree. I'm just gonna do a little rundown. We're basically running our primary spec tree as our temporal operative. It's got some really nice stuff in it. I really suggest taking the time to read through it and look at what all you're getting and how it will benefit your particular build, so this way you can make those minute changes to your build to accommodate, you know, what you're losing or what you're gaining. I mean, there's a lot of recharge speed boosts in here. There's a lot of dots that you're getting. There's a lot of debuffs you're getting. I mean, there's all sorts of cool stuff in this. Our secondary, we're running a strategist, and again, I highly suggest taking the time to read everything that you're using, so this way you can try to develop an understanding of what is working well together and what is not, and why the build can do what it can do. Alright, let's take a look at our space skills here. I'm just going to do a scroll through so you can get a picture of what skills we've got running here. I'm going to make some changes to this, though, because like I said, I'm going to take the temporal are the torpedo points out of this here. Right here. Take these torpedo points out. I'm probably going to wind up putting them into impulse expertise to get some more speed and turn rate. But we'll see how that works out once I get this respect. Alright, let's go over our bridge stations here. As you can see, this is a very versatile boat. It's got a Lieutenant Commander Universal Station. That is pretty huge because you can beef up on the tactical abilities, you could beef up on the engineering abilities, or you could beef up on the science, which is what I'm doing. But it's a very versatile station. It's got a Lieutenant Temporal and a Commander Temporal, which is a lot of nice temporal abilities. But as you can see here, I'm running 4 temporal abilities and then 4 science damage abilities. Then I've got the 1 heal, of course. And then emergency powered engines, because we need that extra speed boost, because she is a little slow. And then I've also got the aux to damp for the kinetic damage resistance and the additional turn rate and flight speed and all that good stuff. But yeah, I mean it's a nice boat. It's got some really cool stuff in it. And as you can see, I am running 1 tactical ability, just 1. And the only reason this ability is there is to trigger all of the other things that get triggered off of firing your weapons in fire at will mode, because you get more exotic damage boosts, you get more damage boosts, you get firing cycle haste out of it from all of the temporal mechanics. I mean, it's very important that if you're going to use a beam build for this particular type of build, you got to have at least Fire at Will 1 on there to trigger all of those things to complement the rest of your build. Because it really does make a difference. Alright, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to go take a run into an ISA, which is the Infected Space Advanced Queue. What we're going to do is we're going to do a pug run and see how well we can do, and then after that little run, we're going to look at a breakdown of the combat log, and we're going to show you some of the different damage types that come off of this build and what you can look for to see what's doing what. So we're going to go run that ISA real quick, and we'll be back right after that. It's bug. Oh, there it goes. It's killing it. Alright, so that was the ISA run, and this is the outcome of that run. This person right here is my fleet mate, and as you can see, these 3 were pickup group members. They were random players that just happened to come into the run. Let me pull up the analysis here to show you. And keep in mind that all 4 of these other players were tactical Toons. So, yeah, science. But as you can see, most of our top DPS is coming from exotic abilities, all science related. You know, some really good stuff there. Some nice debuff going on there. There's a 212% target debuff, which is really nice for this build. A lot of debuffing helps to increase your damage potential. Especially in team play, it also helps your teammates to increase their damage potential. So it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. But yeah, guys, that's the build there. This is going to be the basis of the build that I use for any future videos for any other ship styles. I'm probably going to plan on doing all of the science ships that I own, and then maybe delve into other ships like the tacticals and engineering ships with a science toon just to see how much DPS potential we can pull with those different types of ships. So I look forward to doing some more videos for you guys, and if you guys have any questions about the build, or if you want some feedback or anything like that, just throw a comment down below, and I'll get to you as soon as I can. Real life comes first. That's my rule. So if I take a little longer getting back to you, fear not. I'm not blowing you off. I'm probably just busy. So with that said, I am Darth Proteus. You guys have a Trek day.